All right, hello everyone. Let's learn the Chumash. Very good. We're learning the Chumash this week. We're continuing on Parshat Bahalotcha et Nerot. Let's see if we can get over to, here we go. One minute. Every time it's something different. Here we go. Oh, there it is. Okay. We learned just about Pesach Sheni that God told Moses, tell the Jewish people about the second Passover, the make-up Passover. That if you missed the first one, you could bring the sacrifice on the second Passover. All right, now the Jews are going to start to travel in the desert. Here we go. We're going to have to try to make a little bit of progress here. Tomorrow, the class will not be at the regular time because there's a big group that's coming here that I have to speak to. So tomorrow, the class will be later on. Maybe we'll make it at 4 o'clock. I'll announce it tomorrow morning. All right. Mishkan. On the day that Moses set up the Mishkan, this is the first day of Nisan. As Kisa'an, there was a cloud that covered over the Mishkan, that covered over the Tabernacle, and the tent of meeting. The Mishkan is the whole entire thing with the outer courtyard and also the tent where there was the Holy and the Holy of Holies. So there's a cloud over it. In the evening, it would be on the Mishkan like fire until the morning. And then the cloud would take its place. So it says the Mishkan was made to be a tent for the luchot. That's Rashi's thing. This is the main thing of the tent was for the luchot. And the outside, that was the altar. That was the altar, right? Okay, so it was all the time. There was a cloud that covered it in the daytime, and there was fire in the nighttime. When it would go out, the Mishkan, the cloud would go up from the tent of meeting, and afterwards the Jewish people would travel. They would only travel in the daytime. And the place where they dwelled, when the cloud stopped, that's where the Jewish people would stop. So we learned that basically there were 7 clouds. It says there were 7 clouds. We'll see. Let's see, where does it say? There's over here. There were 7 clouds. One is on the top, one underneath them, one on the right, on the left, and in the front and the back. They were like, it was like a box. They were a huge box. And then there was a cloud that went in front of them that knocked down all it leveled mountains, and it made the traveling easier, killed all the snakes and let's just look at this here. We have the Bal Haturim. What is the Bal Haturim? The Bal Haturim says like this. Bal Haturim, the day of the Mishkan, 7 times it says over here, it says the word Mishkan. If you count it 7 times, it says at the Mishkan once, a Mishkan twice, it says a Mishkan 3 times. And in the course of it, it says again, Mishkan, it says it 4 more times. Al Mishkan, here's another time. It says the word Mishkan. That's already 5 times. And then it says Mishkan 6 times, and the word Mishkan is mentioned another time, number 7. Where's the Mishkan? Here it is, 7 times. Just one moment. Okay, so this is the Bal Haturim. It says 7 times the word Mishkan over here. You can count them. It says 7 times. Why does it 7 times? Corresponding to the 7, corresponding to 7 Mishkanot. There were 7. What does it mean there were 7? How many Mishkans were there? There was only 1, wasn't it? No, so we'll see. There was this one they had in the desert. Then when they came into the land of Israel, there were 4 more. Right? As soon as they came in, they built a Mishkan in a place called Gilgal. That was there for 14 years while they fought and divided up the land. Then it was for another 369 years. It was in a place called Shiloh. And then there was another 57 years altogether. There was in 2 more places. One was called Nob, and another place was called Gimon. So that makes how many? 5. How does it get 7? So then there was the first temple and the second temple. It was also called Mishkan. It was called Mishkan because there was a place where God dwelled. Okay, and here we have the Baal. I don't know if we have time. Yeah, why not? We'll try. Here we go. We have the Ramban. Ramban. Now it's coming to tell us about the whole idea of the traveling. We already finished talking about the counting of the Jews, and we talked about Pesach Sheni and counting of the tribe of Levi. And now it's talking about the journeys and the mitzvahs that were commanded, like the trumpets. We'll get to that today, God willing. They were commanded, Moshe, to make 2 trumpets in order to call the people and to make everybody travel. And the reason that the cloud, Anan, covered over the Mishkan, Lo El Edut, Lagi to say Shalo Ayah Ha'anan Mechaseh El Oel Edut. It only covered over the place where the tablets were, and not, and there's the tent, and it didn't cover over the courtyard where the altar was. It just covered over the tent. Okay, fair enough. Next, here we have the Bal Haturim. Look at this Bal Haturim. Alot, that says Lifnei Ha'alot Ha'anan, before the Anan went up. Why Ha'alot? It seems to be plural. It could be Ha'aliyat. Why Alot? It says there's 2 aliyot, 2 goings up. One time when the Halot Anan, Ad Alot Gola, the 2 times the Jewish people went to the land of Israel. One time was they went from the desert. That was one aliyah. And the second aliyah is when Ezra came. Ezra came took the Jews from Babylon, or he accompanied them anyway, from Babylon. And it said that really in the days of Ezra, it should have been just like the days of Moshe. But because they did a sin, the Jewish people sinned coming from, because of the sin of the Jewish people. So it wasn't the same. What do you mean? So here we have the Orach Chaim. We have the Orach Chaim over here. It says like this, right in the beginning. It says, Lefi Ha'alot. The presence of the cloud, Asher al Mishkan, was on the Mishkan, was for 2 purposes. Number 1, it was to cover over the tent where the tablets were, to show honor, glory. The glory of Hashem was there. That's what it says, Chisa Anenet Mishkan La'oel Al Edut. That's why it says to cover over the Edut. Chisa Anenet Mishkan La'oel Edut. This is only the temple, the tent of the Edut, where the tablets were. But then there was another meaning to it, and that was posted, and it says lefi ulefi perish. What? Another explanation that was another explanation is that they did it in order to show the Jews ulefi how elos, and when the Anan rose up. So that was a second purpose. What was the second purpose? To show the Jews that the Jews should know how so Yis'u ben Israel, the Jews should know when is the time of traveling and when is the time that they should camp. So one thing was just the glory of the Jewish people. And the other one was to show tell the Jews when to travel and when not to travel. According, sentence number Yudchet, according to the order of God, they traveled, the Jewish people, and according to the order of the mouth, Al Pi Hashem, according to the order of God, they camped all the days that the cloud was on the Mishkan, they camped. So Rashi says like this. We learned in the Melechus of Mishkan that it says, since the Jewish people were traveling, so this Amud Mitkapelet, it says that there was a pillar, the pillar of the cloud, it would like fold up and it would be like over the tribe of Yehuda, like a board, it would like float over them. Tiku v'herio tiku, and then they would sound the shofar, which we're going to learn in a moment. The sound, not the shofar, I'm sorry, not the shofar. They would sound the trumpets. V'loya mahalech ad Moshe Omer, until Moshe said Kum Hashem, which we're going to learn that later. That's later on. That's these two sentences that we learned in the Sikha of the Rebbe, that according to the Gemara, these two sentences are a separate book of the Bible. It divides the book of Numbers into three. And these two sentences are one of those books. And then they would travel Yehuda. Yehuda was the first one to travel. They were the ones that were camped on the east. And that's what it says in the Sifri. Al Pi Hashem Yachanu. According to God, they camped. This means since the Jewish people were camped, so this cloud that was floating like a board over the tribe of Yehuda, right? It was called the camp of Yehuda. With Yehuda, there was two other tribes, Yisachar and Zebulun. We're going to see that in a moment. So the cloud would straighten up, and it would be Amoranan mitamer va'ola v'nimshach al gabi b'nei Yehuda kamin sukkah. Then it would be over them like an umbrella, and it wouldn't move until Moshe said Shuva Yisrael, Alfei Yisrael, and then it would start to move. So in other words, the cloud would not move until it got the orders from Moshe. That's what it says, Al Pi Hashem. So it says that, and it was all the traveling in the desert was three. It was God, and it was the cloud, and it was Moshe. They were the ones that told the Jewish people to move. Moses, three of them. All right, when the Mishkan when the cloud stayed over the Mishkan several days, so the Jewish people would stay where they were and they wouldn't move. There's sometimes when the Anan would just be a few days over the Mishkan. Nevertheless, according to what God said, they would camp. According to what God said, they would travel. There's sometimes when the Anan would just be from the evening until the morning, and then it would go in the morning and they would travel. And sometimes it would be several days. And then or Yomayim, or Chodesh, or a month, or Yomim, or even longer, right? It says Yomim, Shana, even a year. Kamo Yomim Tiya Gulato. When it says Yomim, means years. Haricha Anan al Mishkan, Lishkon Alav, Yachanu B'Yisrael. Whenever the cloud was on the tent, the Jewish people would camp, and they wouldn't travel. And as soon as it lifted up, then they would travel. According to God, they would travel. According to God, they would camp. According to God, they would travel. The orders of God they kept. According to God, with the hands through the orders of Moshe. And that's what Sifrano says here. Gab is a katzar, even a short amount of time. So it says when the so it would be even a short amount of time. That's how they would travel according to these three, according to Moshe, and according to God, and according to the cloud. And we're going to see that there were also the trumpets. The trumpets, that was Moshe's part. Here it goes. God said to Moshe like this: you should make 2 trumpets of silver. It says, Aselecha mishalcha. They have to belong to Moshe. People can't make them. They have to belong to Moses. It says, Atose umishtamesh bayam v'lo acher. That's what it says. You have to make them, Moses, and not anybody else. So that you see, there's these places that say we made the trumpets are just waiting for Moses. You can't do that. Moses had to make the trumpets himself. The Mikra Eidah, in order to call the people, when he wants to talk to the Sanhedrin, wants to talk to the people. So how would he do it? There were no telephones back then. So he would make a sign. He would call them by means of these trumpets. And it would also be to make everybody travel. When they would go, he would sound these shofar, these trumpets. So it comes out that 3 things they would travel according to 3 things, according to God, according to Moshe, and according to the trumpets. You have to make these trumpets. It says miksha. Miksha, they have to be miksha. What does it mean, miksha? It means maisa taseh hiksha cornus. They should be made one big piece, and they just hit it with a hammer. I guess Moshe would do it. He knew how. He would hit it with a hammer, and from that it would make the form of the trumpet. In other words, he wouldn't melt it or make pieces and stick them together. Something like that. It'd be one piece that Moses hit with a hammer and formed it. You should sound them, and could come to you all the crowd, all the congregation, to the opening. Whenever you want to call everybody, you should sound both of them, bishneim, and both of them. This is a sign that everyone should gather together to the Ohel Moed. So here's an Orach Chaim. Orach Chaim says, let's understand what's going on. Why does he really have to have these horns to sound these trumpets? Everybody could see the cloud. The cloud, as soon as it lifted up, so everybody traveled. So what do you have to have the trumpets for? Maybe because if everybody depended on the clouds, maybe they wouldn't travel together. Yagdim Devil Yehuda, and also the fact is that in fact, the Jewish people did not go all together. The one tribe went at a time. First of all, went Yehuda. Afterwards came Gershon, those who carried the Mishkan. Afterwards came Reuven. Right? And there was an order how they traveled in the desert. So therefore, you had to have these trumpets in order that everybody should know exactly what his time was, because it says that you will see in a minute that when there's a certain sign that to tell that the tribe of Judah should move, and then there was another sign to tell when Reuven should move, and etc. Also, another thing that says, Aseh lecha, what does it have to say, make to you? It should have said, Aseh shtei chatzotzot, you should make 2 trumpets. Why does it say make to you? You didn't have to say that. So it's explained that it says that loya mizdakef anan, the cloud would not stand up until Moshe would say, stand up. So this depended on Moshe. So now we can understand what it means. Moshe, that God would, umeata nochal omar gam ken sheyatzav Hashem, that God commanded shekamo ken tiyeh Nesiat Yisrael al pi Moshe. So God was really doing the commandment, and it was because he was the one that made the cloud lift up. But it was all done for the honor of Moshe. Just like the cloud, it said the cloud only went until Moshe said Kuma. Later on, we'll see. So that's what it says, Lacha. In other words, only that Moses had to give permission, so to speak. Of course, he always gave permission, but nevertheless, this was to give honor to Moshe. Also, the rabbis say, Lo ata meshamesh, velo acher yochol ishtamesh behem. It says, you have to make for them. You cannot, Moshe, you can use it, Lacha ata meshtamesh. It says that Moshe, you are the one that uses them, and no one else can use these trumpets. And also it says you have to make them, nobody else can make them. So these trumpets are purely and solely the handwork of Moshe, and only Moshe could use them. That's what it says, Oseh Lecha. They're totally yours. Okay, you should sound them, and they will gather to you all the congregation to the entrance of the Ohel Moed, to the tent of meeting, to the tabernacle. And if you only sound one of them, then will come the heads of the tribes. Heads of the tribes, they will also come, or only they will come. And if you uskatem teruah, if you sound a teruah, teruah is usually da 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 da. So Rashi explains it's not just a teruah, it's tekiah, teruah, tekiah. A teruah is in the middle. This is also how we learn. We'll see the sounding of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. So it says tekatem. So when you just sounded one blast from both of them, then everybody gathered together. If you sounded one blast from one of them, then the heads of the tribes came. If you sounded from both of them, then they started to travel. Who traveled? The tribes that were going to the east. Who are the ones that are going east? That was, let's see. This is going to be Yehuda. Where is it? Anyway, this was Yehuda goes first, and then after that, Skutatem Shenis, the Samachanas that were on the south side. Who was the ones on the south side? That was Shisadega Reuven. Now let's have a look over here and see what's really going on over here. Here are the tribes, right? So we have, first of all, this is the west side. So on the west side, this is the camp of Ephraim. That's on the west side. This is the side that was closest to the Holy of Holies, the west side. Here's the east side, opposite them. That was, who was on the east side? That was Yehuda. Yehuda with Yisachar and Zebulun. So Yehuda was the first one to travel. He would, number one, travel. And then they would sound again, and that would be Reuven would travel. Then Reuven would travel. That's this tribe over here. He was on the south. Right, this is the east. So that's how they would travel. What about the other tribes? We'll see. That's not going to be so clear. You'll see. Then when you want everybody to gather together, then they just make a tekiah, and there's no tekiah. So it comes out here. It says similar stones. So it says here we have this Mikra Ada. If you want to call, just call everyone together. You sound both of the trumpets. If you want to just call the Nesiim, you count one. If you sound both of them, and there is no teruah, right? Zeh v'zeh ain't no teruah. Both of these, there's no teruah. Just the. If you want everybody to travel, then you sound two of them, but there's a teruah in the middle. Then that's when people start to travel. The sons of Aaron, they will sound the chatzotzrot, and will be them mechukot olam. Hey, what's this? The sons of Aaron. I thought that it says that only Moses could use it. So we can say that Moses, he would tell them that they could use it. He'd give them the permission. When there comes a war on anyone that makes trouble with you, so that you would sound these trumpets, and you would be remembered in front of God, and you will be saved from your enemies. Here's a very interesting thing. Bal Haturim, which war is he talking about? He's talking about, this is the remembrance of the Ki Tavo Milchama, the war of Gog and Magog. This is the final war which will come before the days of the Mashiach. Then these shofrot will be sounded. Very interesting. So it seems to indicate that Moses is going to be here. I don't know what's going to be. The Rebbe spoke about a lot of times that the raising of the dead, there'll be big tzaddikim that'll stand up first. And the Rebbe said that among them, the first of them will be the previous Rebbe, Lubavitcher Rebbe, and he'll be the Mashiach. That's what he said. Okay, how this is going to be, we'll see when it happens. When there comes a war, it says, this is the Gematria, Bim Milchemet Gog, Tava'u Milchama, right? Ki Tava'u Milchama, this is the same numerical value of Milchemet Gog, the war of Gog. Okay, this is Gog and Magog. Tavo, it says when you're Tavo Milchama, Tavo is the same letters as Avot. Avram, which is in the merit of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, the Jewish people, win their wars. So if you ever wondered why it is that the Israelis, they're secular and they're this, and they don't believe in God, they don't believe in the Torah, and they win the wars, is because Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they have the merit of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And of course, God loves every Jew anyway, so no matter what they do. But here we see the merit of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. You should sound the shofar, was it Hareotem, because of Roa, because there's something bad. Hit Roa Oretz, Truam B'Shevet Barzel, like it says, to punish. Also, the Teruah means also to be punished, to be in difficulty. In the days when you're happy, and in your holidays, and the beginning, the first days of the month, sound those trumpets on the offerings that you make and on the peace offerings that you make. And it will be for a remember in front of God, I am God, your God. Is Rashi, nice Rashi. It's Korban Sibur. I am God. Mikan, here we learn how you sound on Rosh Hashanah, the Malchiot. I am God, your king. It says the Malchiot is the kingship. Zichronot, I am God, Zikaron, that God will remember you. And Shofrot, you should sound the shofar. This is from here they learn that you should sound these trumpets and sound how you should sound them on Rosh Hashanah, because Rosh Hashanah, so because it says how, Shenemar utkatem, that's shofrot, lezikaron, this is zichronot, ani Hashem Elokechem, this is that God is a king. Okay, let's go a bit further. And it was on the second year, on the second month. If you remember, this is how the book of Bamidbar starts off. The whole book of Midbar. When does God count the Jews? Same thing. Second year, second month, but on the first day. Here's the year. That's when he counted. Started this whole counting. That's right in the beginning of the book of Numbers. And here, this is the 20th day of the month. So the cloud went up. Oh, what does that mean when the cloud goes up? Start to travel. But Yisuf B'nai Yisrael, the Jews went Midbar Sinai, and the cloud then rested in Midbar Paran. And they traveled according to God by Moses. And first of all, who traveled first? Yehuda. Yehuda was the first one to travel, and with him who was the leader? Nachshon ben Aminadav. And together with Yehuda, there was two other tribes, Yisachar and Zevulun. There was the tribe of Yisachar. The leader of Yisachar was Nathaniel ben Suar. And in Kabbalah, and also the Rebbe learns from each and every one of these names, tremendous and very important lessons in serving God. Together with them was also Zvulun. Zevulun was Eliav ben Chelon. Right, these were the two sons of Leah. All these three were the three sons of Leah. Yehuda was the fourth son of Leah, and these were the two sons that she got because she ate these dudaim, if you remember the story. So they're all sons of Leah. Then they took apart the Mishkan, and who went? Gershon. And they were the ones who carried the curtains. And B'nai Merari, they were the ones who carried the boards. They had the wagons. Gershon had 2 wagons, and Merari had 4 wagons because he had carried these boards, which were tremendously heavy. And then after that would go Reuven. Who went together with Reuven? Would go Shimon. Would go. Shimon was Reuven was. There were 6 sons altogether to Leah. 3 of them already went, so there's 3 of them that are left over. There's Reuven, and there's Shimon, and you can't have Levi. Levi is one of the tribes. So who do we get? We'll see. Shimon, Shlumiel ben Surishadai, and Gad. Gad was one of the children that came from the handmaid of Leah, right? The handmaid of Leah, Zilpah, Eliasaph ben Du'uel. Anyway, then afterward went the tribe of Kahat. Tribe of Kahat, they were the ones who carried the ark and all of the other vessels, the altars. Nosei Mikdash v'Hikim with the Mishkan ad Boam, and they would set up the Mishkan until everybody came. Then after that would go Ephraim. Now we got these are the sons of Rachel. Rachel had 2 sons, Yosef and Benjamin. Yosef got divided up into 2 tribes. Ephraim was the whole camp, was the camp of Ephraim, and with them was going also the tribe was Elishama ben Amihud, and with him was also going Menashe, that was Gamaliel ben Sur, and Benjamin, Abidan ben Agni. Then after that, there went the last tribe, which was tribe of Dan, Ma'asef l'kol ha'machanos. He was the last to gather up. He gathered up from all the others. What's this language of Ma'asef? So Rashi explains over here. Talmud Lomer, the Talmud Yerushalmi says, because Dan, the tribe of Dan, had a lot of people who were very, very populated. As therefore, they went last. Anybody who lost something, they would bring it back to them. And the Rebbe once said that's you have to be like. The Rebbe once said you have to be like the tribe of Dan. That's what we're started. We're Chabad. We're sort of the stragglers. We're after everybody else. And anybody who loses, any Jew that gets lost, as we pick them up. We try to bring them, all these Jews that have been lost in the course of the exile. V'asya command the Omer, let's go like it says that Kateva Hol Yochim. It says that they were walking like a box. Umafiklon min ka'asher yachanu ken yisou. It says like they traveled, so they would go. And some people say no, that they would go like a board. They would walk. Umafiklon for it says maset mikol machanot. So there's 2 opinions on how they traveled in the desert. Some people say that they traveled in the desert in exactly the same form that they did, camped around the tent. They camped around the tent. That Yehuda was on one side, and that opposite them was Ephraim, and then on the other 2 sides was Reuven, and on the other side was Dan. So that's according to that way of looking. But then there's another way of saying that no, that they traveled in a straight line. That's what it seems to indicate here. The first ones to travel were Yehuda, and then after Yehuda traveled Reuven, and then after Reuven there traveled Ephraim, and then after Ephraim there traveled Dan. So I can show you a picture over here, 2 different ways. Let's see if we can find this over here. We have a little bit of time. Let's see if we can see this. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh. All right, I don't know if you can see this, but let's see if we can make it happen. This is it. That's maximum, huh? Maximum. No, that's maximum. Okay. So here, let's take this picture over here. And these are the different opinions of how they traveled in the desert. Is this a good picture? Can you see over here? Yeah, I don't know if this is clear at all. But in any case, can you see anything? No, I don't think so. Anyway, there's these different opinions about how they traveled when they were in the desert. According to one opinion, and this is the opinion of the Lavush, this is the opinion of the Guraria, this is the opinion of the Sifsei Chachamim. How they, can you see it? As a Sifsei Chachamim. It's a little bit blurry over here, so you can't really see. Anyway, one big difference is when did the Levites, how did they travel? According to one opinion, this is Gershon, this is Gershon and Merari, the wagons, right? And according to one opinion, they traveled first. And according to another opinion, they traveled second. According to another opinion, they traveled third. That was the main thing. That where did the tribe of Merari travel? Merari, they were the ones that had the 4 wagons, and also Gershon, they had 2 wagons. So where exactly did they travel? According to one opinion, they traveled number 3. According to number 2, and they traveled in the beginning before anybody else, because they had to set up the altar. They had to set up the tabernacle. Okay, that's one of the big differences. There's another opinion that says no, that they traveled like this. Here we have this picture here. That when they traveled in the way that they were camped. We're camped around. Here is the Mishkan, and when they traveled, they would travel in this direction here, right? And they would travel. The first one would travel with Ruvain, right? And then they would travel after Ruvain would travel in this direction. They would I'm sorry. The first one would travel Yehuda. Yehuda was the first one to travel. They would travel in this direction. And then Ruvain would travel after them in this direction. And then the tent with all the wagons and everything, that would travel over here, but they would travel like this, like a box. They would travel together. And he was done. It says he was the last one to travel, but that it means that he was traveling. This is the way. This is according to, you go according to how it's written. How it's written, that's how they traveled. Okay. Any case, there are differences in opinion on how they traveled in the desert. Of course, they made it. So that's. No, I'm sorry, wrong one. I got the wrong one here. Let's make this smaller. Over here. Let's go back, stop the share. Oh. Shalom. Here we go. Let's go back to the share the screen. Share the wealth. Do we have it? Did I lose it? Did I lose it? No. Looks like I lost it. Stop share. Okay, what can we do? I had the. That's too bad. 1 second. No, I lost it. Okay. All right, we'll have to stop.